Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability.
Welcome to Silicon Valley Tech, Art, Green, and Sustainability, SVTAGS.org. Today, I'm very honored to have a young lady with me who's just done incredible work in the last, I don't want to say how many years because I don't want to date you. 20, okay. Ceitci Demirkova, am I pronouncing?
Correct.
Okay, I got a Bulgarian name right. So you traveled here, you moved from another country, you've started nonprofits, you've done some amazing things. Tell us about your history a little bit and who you are.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. I always appreciate an opportunity to talk about our organization and what we have been able to accomplish. So I came to the United States from Bulgaria, former communist country, in December 5th, 1994. So I have been here for about 20 years now. And
did you come by yourself?
I came by myself with $100 and 100 words of English. And a big vision.
$100 and 100 words in English.
Yes.
Wow.
So I just had a dream in my heart that I wanted to help as many kids as possible.
And how old were you then?
19.
19, okay.
Yes. So I was 19, just out of high school, studied German in a German high school and didn't speak the language, English obviously, so
but you
I
spoke
got
German
here.
then? And
I did. I spoke German and Russian under communism and Bulgarian, and so I learned English when I got here.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up the first slide, which is really, really cute. Tell us what this is. Is this you?
That is me as a baby with my parents, and then at age 3 holding a little ball in my hands. And so it's an interesting situation that when you grow up in Bulgaria and any communist country really for that matter, that most people don't really have any hope, any dignity, any value, and that's my entire upbringing. So to be doing what I'm doing today, starting from that beginning, is really a miracle in itself.
So why is that then? Why do they not?
Because communism really strips you from your identity as an individual and tries to basically equalize everyone on the same level without really able to pursue any dreams or vision. We didn't even know what a dream meant until I came to the States and I realized everybody here talks about individual dreams and goals, and we didn't have that growing up under communism.
Let's bring the next slide up. And so this is you on the left, and then
yes.
somewhere there on the right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on the second row on the right all the way to the wall. Yeah, exactly. On the second step there. And so under communism, we had to wear certain uniforms with a white shirt, a black skirt or a dark blue skirt, and a blue tie when you're up until 3rd grade, and then the tie changes into red tie when you go from 4th until the 12th grade. And it was a representation that we belonged to the Communist Party. And so that's our uniform, and we had a little cap.
And so how old were you in the picture on the right?
I was about 7 because that was 1st grade when I first started school.
And then on the left, how old were you?
Probably 6. So that's
chickens?
Me with the chickens. Yes, I grew up partly in the village, riding the pigs and hanging out with the chickens.
In the right photo, I never even noticed there's a man standing there. It looks like maybe with a cane or a shovel or...
So that actually, on the wall, there are 2 men. You can't see both of them, but those were the founders of the Bulgarian alphabet.
Okay,
yes, it's a painting.
We can pull that
And
down.
they were the founders of the Bulgarian alphabet, came out of Greece and gave us the alphabet, basically.
So you were only 19, high school degree when you moved here.
Correct.
And you had aspirations to go into ministry then, or no?
I did. That's the primary reason I came here, to study at Victory Bible College. And I came to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh.
Yes. So I started in Tulsa, landed in New York first, and then caught another flight over to Kansas, and then from Kansas to Tulsa. So I started my journey really being sponsored through one family that were missionaries. They brought me to the States, but then they left, and I was really on my own after that.
And how long were you in Oklahoma then?
6 years. So I
And
went
so
to
was
college
it a
for 3.
culture shock being?
It was huge culture shock.
Yeah.
And the reason was not that I was in school with a culture shock. It was the fact that I was bombarded with so many choices. And under communism at that time, we had no choices. You only go to the store and you buy one type of bread, one type of milk, one type of sugar. You come here, and the first week I was lost in a gas station store because I thought, wow, they have 2 aisles. It's so big. And then I got exposed to Walmart and the mall, and I was completely overwhelmed. So I have this joke that I was...
And sugar, was that something like the candies and stuff you see at the...
Candy, chocolate, anything. I mean, we didn't really have that many choices, maybe like a couple of different varieties. So, yeah.
So tell us, you have 2 organizations, Changing a Generation, and then with your name.
Yes.
Let's pull up the first slide here. Tell us about this organization. Tell us about the slide too. Who is this?
So this is actually one of the first kids that we began to support in Ghana. And the organization really started right after I got here at age 20, by the time I turned 20, with my $100, the 50 that was left from the 100. I really just wanted to start supporting an orphan. So in Bulgaria, I started with $1 supporting 1 child a month, so for $12. And a lot of people sometimes think that they have to have millions of dollars to start something. You really have to start with what's in your hand. And because of the poverty that I grew up in and seeing the lifestyle that the kids had, and then going back to Bulgaria and also to Holland and Sweden, and seeing how many of the kids were dispersed from the orphanages and put into trafficking. And in 95, 96, nobody ever talked about trafficking, but the kids were still being sold or under the table taken out of the orphanages. So that's why we started this nonprofit organization, and I partnered with a church that helped me get it going so that we have the nonprofit status. And then we began to add, after a few years, in 2007 and 8, we added Uganda and Ghana into the organization.
So how many children do you think were in need in your home country at that time versus now?
The number really varies because they have estimated 30,000 orphan kids for a long period of time, and that number is still the same. So
in your native
in Bulgaria,
okay.
Yes. So Bulgaria is only like 7 million people, so it's not that big. But I know that there is more kids that are actually orphaned. They're just not registered in the system, therefore they're not accounted for. And when you're not accounted within the system, they can be taken out of the country at any moment, and nobody knows. So it's very hard to even statistically talk about how many kids are being trafficked or where they're at the moment.
So this is before Russia broke down that you moved here, right?
This is after, actually.
It's after.
It was communism fell, and we were under communism with Russia. So until 1989, and after that we went through the period of changes, economical restructuring, political changes, and then in 94 when I got here, Russia was no longer really a part of what was going on politically in the country, but they were still a part of many electricity, water, different political international
because
connections.
It's so close to where you were.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Bulgaria, Uganda, Ghana,
Yes.
those are the specifically, you started with your home country. How much longer after did you start with the other countries?
So it was a few years later because I spent a little bit of time back in Bulgaria, and then I came back to the States. And the way we really even started our work in Africa is because I always had a heart for Africa, even when I lived in Bulgaria before I got to the States. I met some people from Kenya, and I fell in love with their culture, and I wanted to write my research paper even in college on Kenya. And I thought, well, I'll go live in Kenya one day. Well, I'm actually here, but now I work in Africa. And it has been a great opportunity to just see how kids in Africa, different lifestyle, completely different culture, can be affected the same way by poverty, by the demeaning of their ability and not having the right resources to pull out their potential. So humanity really functions the same despite of whatever continent they are, and especially children's dignity. When we talk about kids that are on the streets in Africa or kids that are on the streets in Bulgaria, they're suffering the same way. And so we started working with an actually pre-established organization in Uganda that was already sponsoring kids or had kids within the school system there. But
so the church you were helping, did they take a missionary tour there, and then that's how you connected?
It was a different organization. From all the traveling that I have done in the last few years, I meet different people, and we specifically connect with people who have our vision and mission, which is to educate the kids, basically putting them in school, providing for education for them, endeavoring to supply their physical needs as well. So connecting them with local communities, being able to provide for whatever is needed every single day, including food, and then also giving them hope and building them spiritually, giving them the faith base of that they can have external hope outside of circumstances.
I'm going to pull up the next slide. I know we're behind on this, and this is, let's see, so this is in Bulgaria. So tell us about all this.
This is in Bulgaria. You can see some of them. This was a couple of months ago when they were on camp. And every summer we send the kids that come from Roma background and they're attending our programs. We have 5 different programs in central Bulgaria. And so we're trying to take them out of their current poverty environment and bring them to the Black Sea or a different location where they can see other kids living and have a little bit of a fun.
Looks like maybe an outdoor outing on the top there.
Yeah. Everything was outside most of the time because it's warm in the summertime, and they were able to really just enjoy themselves for a week and a half. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I forget what the next one is, but we're going to bring the next slide up too, if it's Uganda.
Yes, that is okay. Uganda. So you can see some of the kids. We have over 300 children in the school there. That's a private school that we support. And those are some of the kids with their new uniforms and new books, writing and learning. They love to play and love to sing. So
we can pull that down too. So are you the only organization that's supporting that school, or are there other organizations too?
We have 2 organizations. So I just linked up with another pre-established nonprofit here in the States, and so we work together with them in providing for all of the kids.
So clean water, that's another thing that you're doing in some of these places. Is that including Bulgaria or more the...
Not in Bulgaria, it's primarily Africa. And because of the location where these schools are or where these kids are located, they have no access to any clean water. It's the river. And when you go and see where they're drinking water from...
Right, animals might have gone to the bathroom near it, or...
People wash everything in the river, so, and they're drinking the water, and they're walking for miles. And it was not even safe for them to walk that long.
And try to carry that much water.
Yes, that's why we did the wells.
So we're going to pull that slide up here too for this project.
Yes.
So that's
one of the wells that we were able to build. That's in Uganda, and then we also had another one in Ghana.
In Ghana?
So, yes.
Wow. That's incredible. Yeah, it's interesting. With some of the organizations that I connect with sustainability and water, some of the ways that they're trying to make purify some of the water, and also collect water at night when it's cooler. So it's interesting, some of the things that are going to be coming up, and hopefully that'll be a project that'll...
Yeah, definitely, because that is one of the ways in Uganda and Ghana, in the areas that are primarily rocks and mountains, and it's really impossible to get water from the ground. That's one way to do it, is the purification of the rainwater that comes in.
And even trying to collect it.
Yes, and collecting it first.
To collect it.
Yes.
And then purifying it. So how long have you been involved? Well, actually, the Project Radical Love, which we'll see a slide with that later. Tell us about that too. What is that?
So we started Radical Love based on the fact that when you're fighting trafficking and rescuing kids, you've got to have so much more love to outgrow the anger or the resentment or the unfairness of and injustice of really the world. And so we call it radical love because we started concerts, we started different people getting involved with writing little blogs or essays that we're compiling into a book. And everybody can really be involved. They can create home fundraising at their homes and feel like they're a part. We provide a whole home kit of how they can all join in and partner with us. So that's what the Radical Love campaign is all about.
And how long have you been doing fundraising for your nonprofits and others? It's a long time, it seems like then.
Yes, so pretty much after college,
and you're training others to do this, as you said.
Yes. So I would say 17 years.
Wow.
That's my full-time mission and job. I travel every week. I speak in various churches, businesses, conferences, and so that's one of the ways we fundraise is we create partnerships with people who hear about us through me or through other people that are involved. We have ambassadors now that are part of the organization.
And how long has the organization been around too?
20 years.
20 years,
yes.
Wow.
So I started when I was
you started with
20.
That $1 for the child each
yes.
each month. So traditional homes, I guess the 18-year-olds, the orphans, and training them. There was something on your website about that and about training the orphans that are coming out that are 18. Tell us about this and what the big needs are there. I wasn't quite sure.
Okay, so basically kids can stay in an orphanage until age 18, and most of them have no education. Therefore, when
Not
they
even high
get
school?
very minimum education while they're in an orphanage.
Okay.
Therefore, when they get out of the orphanage, they don't have a family, they don't have anywhere to go. There is no transitional home.
And is this Bulgaria and Uganda and?
This is primarily in Bulgaria.
Okay.
Uganda and Ghana function differently, so we focused on my country because I know the culture better and the law system better. So what we do there is I have networked with a transitional home outside of my hometown that provides that in between 6 months to a year phase where a young adult comes out of the orphanage and they can stay there, get some regular training, educational training, but also how to live a life outside into the open, outside of the orphanage. So that's the primary goal, is for these kids not to get trafficked, because they're the first target for trafficking and prostitution or illegal labor is the target of the young teenagers that have no parents and nobody know where they are.
So you're doing the housing for them overseas, or are you bringing them here too?
We can't bring them over here. It's very hard to bring that many people here, so it's there. And so we also have the transitional home and then undercover shelters, for that we work with other organizations in the country for kids who are rescued out of trafficking, young mothers, teenagers, whoever has been trapped into that.
So that was going to be my next question, is asking about the trafficking, but we covered it a little bit. Our Seroptimus Club, when I was club president 2003 to 2005, that was our international project, and it's gotten more headlines now. Mm-hmm. So how big of a problem is it in Bulgaria then? Is it?
Well, Bulgaria and Romania are the top two nations for the most human trafficking.
Ukraine.
Ukraine, so I'm talking the European Union. Ukraine is a little bit outside, so Euro-Asia. So within the European Union, Bulgaria and Romania are the top. And then, of course, you have Greece. So it's like those three rotating countries. And then the people that are trafficked into Western Europe or Asia.
And so how many people are coming out of these orphanages that are needing help a month or a year? Like, what are your estimates?
I mean, we can't really predict because I don't even know. Nobody can tell me a number of how many are going to be coming out, because most of them don't have a paperwork. So when you look at it, it could be 1,000, it could be 3,000, it could be less than that. But the main problem is that at the moment where Bulgaria is in Eastern Europe, between Turkey, Greece, and Romania, and the Black Sea, and then bordering Russia above, because of also the refugee influx of people, we have so much increase of trafficking taking place within all of these countries, because everything is pretty much almost borderless. And also you can't track how many people are coming in and out at the moment. So I gotta say, for our organization and the kids that we work with, their life is in danger because they could be on a bus and never get off the bus. And so we're always watching for them. We have brought so much awareness to parents, to guardians, to teachers, to not just put the kids in some car that just stops by on the street. So I think education and prevention are important in order to minimize the trafficking, because most of our kids are actually sold into trafficking from their parents. So that's a big issue.
Which is just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up the next slide, which I think we only have a couple more, and it's I love this: fear less and hope more. And this is the radical love that you were just talking about. So what do you, and we can pull that back down, what do you like most about what you're doing right now?
You know, really giving people hope despite of circumstances and obstacles in their life. Inside of what I do as a business coach, as well as a speaker and as a fundraiser. So for me personally, just to see that every person can be a part of a greater cause and a greater purpose in their life and make a difference. And I always tell people this: I started with nothing and didn't even speak the language. And if I can do something to even help one person, even though we're helping more, then anybody can do something. So that never to be overwhelmed by the need, but to be looking for the solution. And when you see the solution, to provide it and to be proactive, because compassion really is love in action. And so that's what we love to do as a team. Everybody has vouched to give their lives for what we do. So we're not doing this for a name or for reputation or because we have nothing else to do. We do it because we have experienced rejection, poverty, not having the ability to even be human, and knowing what it means to be found and have hope. So I love giving people hope through my faith, through what I do, and through our organization.
So I think I'm gonna skip the question about what your biggest challenges have been, because you've had a lot of challenges. What has been the biggest win? And I know you just won an award, but what's your favorite thing that you've gone through, your biggest win, your biggest accolade in your life so far?
So we actually did just win an award, the Beauty in 2015 and 2014 awards for having sustainability within an organization and creating change, and that's out of Seattle, Washington. So we're very glad about that. This year we're celebrating a big year, obviously 20 years of our nonprofit. We just had a big event, but I would have to say in 2012 I was able to host the president of Bulgaria with his 57-member delegation.
Wow.
And a lot of people from the Bulgarian community, and also various dignitaries and governors from the United States in Seattle, Washington. He was the first president, Democratic president in Bulgaria, was elected that year, and he was coming into the country to meet with President Obama and Bill Gates. So we had the opportunity through the organization of the Pacific Institute in Seattle to host him, spend the day with him, and really talk about educational solutions for the country and how we can be of assistance to that.
Well, you're doing amazing work, and I'm
Thank you.
getting the 5-minute warning, so I want to make sure we ask, and I'm going to pull up the last slide, what your needs are with your two organizations. And we have both Changing a Generation and then your other organization, which are basically the same. Let's pull that down. What are your major needs right now from the community and at large?
I would say the main need at the moment is we're raising funds for Christmas. So our Christmas campaign, and information is on the website, how people can get involved and
you're
provide.
actually selling things on there too.
And I
so
also
that's another way people can.
I actually have books that I sell.
Yeah,
those are 4 books that I've written. These are little mini devotionals. These are Christian books that I have written.
Can you get a close-up of
And
that?
they're pretty much on the inspirational aspect of just encouraging people to believe for the impossible things. And then this is my life journey of growing up under communism and coming and living here pretty much on faith with God. So those are available, and I'm working on a 5th book at the moment called Motivated by the Impossible, Recognizing Your Invisible Mentors. So our biggest needs, I would say, is new opportunities
and
for
you're selling
speaking
things from some of these countries as well, which
yes,
also
we have
helps. Scarves that are hand painted,
yes,
silk scarves.
jewelry, and then my books, and then we also have handmade cards by the kids. So yeah, we sell a few different items, and for me personally, we're looking for next year to expand with different TV shows, different fundraising opportunities, and then also new opportunities for speaking engagements for me and our team.
Well, and maybe next time we can get a sponsor to sponsor your airfare.
That would be great.
To come back, right?
Yes.
You traveled so far. You had some resources too on YouTube and Facebook. Do you want to mention those as well?
Absolutely. So people can go on our website, ceitci.org, or changingageneration.net. Yes, ceitci.org. And on the website, basically, they can click on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and it will automatically connect them. Just because it's a little hard to spell out all of that information, but it's on there. So info@ceitci.org, and also just ceitci.org has all the information on there.
So I think we only have a couple minutes left. So what's the one thing you want people to remember about you and the organization too? We have a couple minutes, so we can take that. Yeah.
I would say that with our organization, we provide the external sustainability for an individual, a family, and a community, and also the internal hope that they can make it through any impossibility in life.
That's wonderful.
So that's what we're about. That there is no impossible situation, and there is no hopeless situation, that people just need somebody to tell them there is hope.
And then, so you're going to be having some fundraisers this year too, and
We
you have
just
other
had
events you're
one.
participating in. I noticed you go to Seattle and you work from there
Yes,
as well,
yes.
and then also Southern California.
That's our main office is in Seattle, because I lived there for 9 years, and then I've recently relocated to California just in the last 2 years.
So you do speaking engagements in both
I
places?
do speaking engagements all over the country, so I travel extensively everywhere.
And people can look at your Facebook and
Absolutely.
Twitter and
yes, they can
find out.
follow us, they can like different things, and perhaps attend some of our events.
book tour maybe with the next
Yeah,
book?
yeah, I would love to do
Come
that
back
for
with,
next
and
year.
do something with SVTAGS and our
That would
and
be
our
great.
group. So thank you so much. I feel so grateful that you're here and that you're doing this work. I mean, it's just
Yes.
amazing work that you're doing.
Thank you
And,
so much for
yeah,
having me. Really
thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah. To the audience, thank you for joining us. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at svtags.org, and make this a great week by conserving, reusing, and rethinking the way you choose to live here in Silicon Valley and beyond. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks.